Well, hello again, Trucker Todd here. Time for another video. Happy Monday to everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. As you know, last week I had my truck worked on in Ellenwood, Georgia at the Prostop, which is the shop for Dart Transit at their terminals. And I wanted to tell you how it went. Do I think I got a good deal? Do I think I saved money? Would I go there again? And what exactly did they do? We're going to hit all of those topics and more. So y'all stay with me and we'll jump right into it. Here we go.
And this is why I do this, why I'm out here, why I keep that hammer down. Flying by these road signs with home on my mind, with these wheels turning round. For my family and for my kids, for this life I want to live. This is why I do this.
Okay, and just like that, we're back. Before we go any further, make sure that you're still subscribed if you have not done so already. If you haven't, go ahead and subscribe. Wait a few seconds, a bell will pop up. Click that bell, hit all, and then you'll be notified about future videos. Also, give me a thumbs up and share this video on your social media platforms. Speaking of social media platforms, you will see my Instagram there. Feel free to join me on Instagram. And we're at 489, 490 subscribers right in there. When we get to the big 500, there will be a Facebook page as well for Trucker Todd. So look for that in the upcoming days or weeks, whatever it works out to be. Probably be next week sometime. I've got the videos booked up for this week. Also, you guys know, you've seen the videos. I love working at Dart Transit. If you would like to know more about working at Dart Transit or have questions for me, my email is there. Feel free to email me or leave a comment below. Also, there's a link there if you'd like to apply directly at Dart Transit. Also, the recruiter I work with, her information is there. If you'd like to receive more information or have more specific questions you'd like to ask, she's the perfect person for that. She can tell you about dedicated opportunities. She can tell you about company driver. She can tell you about lease purchase, things like that. So she's a great resource for any questions that you might have. All right, let's jump into this. So I went to Ellenwood, Georgia. I'm in Missouri right now, sorry. And I had some issues. The truck had an antifreeze leak. The HVAC system, the air conditioner, heater, all of that would only work in recirculation mode. I had a vibration at idle. We're going to talk about that more in a minute. And I believe that was the main things. Anyway, let's talk about what ended up happening. And there was a bump in the road. We'll talk about that as well. All right, the first thing, and they've got some complaints here I never said. I never said the air conditioner wasn't blowing cold. They said I said that. But they determined that the cabin air filter needed to be replaced. Now, I don't think so. That's something I could have done. I never saw the old one. They charged $24 for the filter and $7.20 to put it in. Let's see. They also replaced a CCV filter, showing it as a maintenance item. Said it was due for replacement. The part was $62.41 and they charged an hour's labor to put it in. Now, their shop charges $90 an hour labor, and I know some of you guys think that's high. The average KW dealer is around $156 an hour nationwide, so really they're about a 40% savings. Your TAs, your things like that, who knows, a lot of them are around 120 or so. You just never know. Depends a lot on location. And some of this stuff they probably wouldn't be able to properly diagnose. So I'm not complaining about the labor. This is more just to let you know what things cost. Okay, getting down to, and I don't know why I said it wasn't blowing cold. I never said that, but that's neither here nor there. The thing is, it's working now. And they said that I don't really understand how they wrote this. Anyway, they charge $16.20 in labor, but no parts, which I thought that was covered up here in the $90 labor. But it was for an HVAC filter. I guess that's different than the other one. They didn't charge any for parts. I believe that's the part they said that was covered by KW. Next, they went to the antifreeze leak, and they found 2 hoses leaking and repaired that. Charged $27 in labor, nothing in parts. The other thing I forgot to mention, my batteries would go down after about 4 hours or so. So I asked them to do a battery test, and they did a battery test and found one of the 4 batteries was bad. So they went ahead and replaced that. The battery was $77.78, which I thought was a bargain. The batteries on my personal vehicles are more expensive than that. And then the labor to put it on was $45. We can debate if that's a little high or not. It's probably what I would call within market range. It's definitely not a difficult repair and something I could have done, but while it was in there, just let them go ahead and do it. And then this is the part I love. You know, I reported a vibration at idle. Thought it could be a motor mount, transmission mount. They told me I needed steer tires. Now, I tend to agree. I am going to need steer tires within the next few weeks. But steer tires have no effect on a truck at idle. I don't care if it's down to the wires. It's not going to vibrate at idle. And so they charged me $76.50 to road test it for a problem I complained about at idle. I kind of feel like I got a little gouged there, I'm not going to lie. But they were very upset I did not choose to get steer tires from them. Reason being is that their selection is going to be more limited than what I could get at a truck stop or an actual tire shop. And I want to do a little more research and get the best possible steer tires I can. So that all got done, and it left a total of $465.48. The bill itself was $426, taxes were $13.14, and then shop fees of $26.19. Now, with those numbers in mind, I added it up. There was 2.83 hours of labor at $90 an hour. And that made a total of $254.70 in labor that I spent at the Prostop. Had I gone to a KW dealer with these numbers, I would have paid $441.48, or basically, what would that be, $190 difference. So I saved $190. I probably would have saved $130 or so over what I would pay at a TA, and I got it diagnosed right and fixed. Parts, let's talk about parts for a minute. That's a little harder to determine if I got ripped off or if I got a good deal, because as you know, there's different brand name parts. Availability comes into the deal. I used to be a service writer, so I understand these things. I'm not going to grill them over parts, and I'm not really going to grill them over labor. I think there's a couple of spots that should have been a little more reasonable, but overall a good deal. I would go there again. They did a good job. After the repair, we had a little problem. There was some damage to my truck, but I'm not going to harp on that because they made it right. You know, I've said before, we all make mistakes, but it's what we do after the mistakes. And once they realized a mistake was made, steps were made to correct the mistake, and so there's no hard feelings. I would definitely use this shop again. I got there at like 3 or 4 o'clock on, I believe it was a Monday or Tuesday. It was February 2nd, whatever day that was. And it was the next morning, obviously, before they could start on me. They started on me that day, probably 9 o'clock in the morning. They worked on it. We ended up waiting for some parts that didn't get there till 5, so I had to go to a hotel. And then they had the truck out the next day, probably about noon or so. So parts delays are going to happen at any shop. I don't begrudge them for that. No hard feelings about that either. As I said, if I was in the area again and I needed a maintenance issue, I would definitely consider them, just because when there was problems, they ultimately did the right thing. So I'm going to wrap this up and get back to work. It's 10 degrees here. It's snowing. I have to turn the truck off when I film these videos so that you can hear me good. But we'll catch you on Wednesday. Wednesday, we're going to talk about truck showers. And then Friday, I'm going to answer some questions about the DART fuel discount and things like that. Had a viewer ask some questions, and we're going to tackle that on Friday. So y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.